Hello, everyone, and welcome to Universal English Learners, the podcast that helps you speak English with confidence, one step at a time. I'm Lyra.
And I'm James. So glad you're here with us today.
James, how are you doing today?
Honestly, Lyra, I'm a little nervous, and I think that's actually perfect for today's topic.
Oh, that is perfect, because today we are talking about something that almost every English learner struggles with, speaking without fear.
Yes, that moment when you know what you want to say in your head, but the words just won't come out.
Exactly. And if that happens to you, please know you are not alone. Millions of people feel this way.
So today, we want to help you understand why this happens and, more importantly, what you can do about it.
Before we dive in, if you're enjoying Universal English Learners, please hit the subscribe button, leave us a comment, and share this episode with a friend who is learning English. It truly means the world to us.
Okay, Lyra, let's start from the beginning. Why are so many people afraid to speak English?
Great question, and the answer might surprise you. Most people think the problem is their English level. They think, my English isn't good enough yet.
Right, and they wait and wait and wait.
Exactly. But here's what I've learned, James. The problem is almost never the language. The problem is the fear of judgment.
Fear of judgment. Say more about that.
People are afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid someone will laugh at them or think they're not intelligent or not understand them at all.
So the fear is emotional, not linguistic.
Precisely. And that's actually good news.
How is that good news?
Because emotional problems have emotional solutions, and we can work on those today.
I love that perspective. Okay, so what is the first thing people need to understand?
The first thing is this. Making mistakes is not the opposite of speaking well. Making mistakes is part of speaking well.
That's a big mindset shift.
Think about it this way. When a baby learns to walk, do they walk perfectly on the first try?
No, of course not. They fall down. A lot.
And do we say that baby is a bad walker?
No, we say, look, the baby is learning to walk. We celebrate it.
Exactly. So why do we treat language learning differently? Why do we feel ashamed when we fall down with our words?
That's such a powerful point. We judge ourselves in a way we would never judge a child learning.
Right. So lesson number 1 for our listeners is this. Be as kind to yourself as you would be to that baby learning to walk.
I think a lot of people needed to hear that. Okay, so what's the second thing?
The second thing is understanding what I call the silence trap.
The silence trap. That sounds a little scary. What is it?
The silence trap is when you stay quiet because you're afraid to speak. And the longer you stay quiet, the more afraid you become. And the more afraid you become, the harder it is to speak.
It's a cycle. Silence leads to more fear, which leads to more silence.
Exactly. So the only way to break the cycle is to speak, even imperfectly, even just one sentence.
Okay, but that's easier said than done, right? How do you actually start?
This is where it gets practical. Let's give our listeners real steps they can take today.
Yes, let's do it. Step by step.
Step 1. Start speaking English to yourself.
To yourself?
Yes, you don't need another person to practice speaking. Narrate your own life in English. When you wake up, say out loud, "Good morning, I slept well. Today is going to be a good day."
Oh, I like that. No audience means no pressure.
Exactly. And no one can judge you for making a mistake when you're alone in your kitchen.
That's true. Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is to use what I call anchor phrases. These are short, simple sentences that you know so well you could say them in your sleep.
Like what?
Things like, "Could you repeat that, please?" Or, "I'm sorry, I didn't understand." Or, "Can you speak more slowly?"
Oh, these are so useful. They buy you time without making you look lost.
Exactly. And here's the secret. Even native speakers use phrases like these all the time. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of communication skill.
So instead of freezing up when you don't understand, you have a ready-made response.
Yes. And once you have your anchor phrases, conversations feel much less dangerous.
I love that word, anchor, like something to hold on to when the conversation gets rough.
Perfectly said, James. Okay, step 3 is something I call the one-sentence rule.
Tell me about the one-sentence rule.
Every single day, you must speak one English sentence to a real person. It can be tiny. "Good morning. Thank you so much. Have a great day."
Just one sentence?
Just one. The goal is not to have a long conversation. The goal is to break the silence, to prove to your brain that speaking English did not kill you.
That's funny, but also true. Our brain treats speaking a foreign language like it's dangerous.
It does. And every time you speak and survive, meaning nothing terrible happens, your brain learns, oh, that was okay. I can do that.
And over time, the fear gets smaller.
Smaller and smaller, until one day you realize you're having a full conversation and you forgot to be scared.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, what is step 4?
Step 4 is to redefine success.
What does that mean?
Most learners define success as, I spoke perfect English with no mistakes, but that's an impossible standard, even for native speakers.
Right, I make mistakes in English and it's my first language.
Exactly. So instead, define success as, did the other person understand me? Did I communicate my idea?
So it's about connection, not perfection.
Yes, and when you measure success this way, you will succeed much more often. And success builds confidence, and confidence makes you want to speak more.
It's a positive cycle instead of a negative one.
Perfectly put. Okay, James, I want to talk about something a lot of people experience. That feeling right before you speak. That tightness in the chest, the fast heartbeat.
Oh yes, I know that feeling well, even in my own language sometimes.
So what do we do with that feeling?
What do we do?
We give it a new name. Instead of calling it fear, call it excitement.
Really? Just rename it?
I know it sounds too simple, but research actually supports this. When you say I'm excited instead of I'm scared, your brain shifts from avoidance mode to action mode.
So instead of, oh no, I have to speak English, it becomes, oh wow, I get to speak English.
Exactly. Same physical feeling, different interpretation, completely different result.
That's actually fascinating. Okay, let's talk about common mistakes people make when they try to overcome speaking fear.
Yes, because there are some traps people fall into.
What's the biggest one?
The biggest mistake is waiting until you feel ready.
Oh, that's a painful one because the feeling of ready never comes.
Never. There is no finish line of preparation where suddenly fear disappears and confidence arrives. Confidence comes from doing the thing, not from preparing to do the thing.
So you speak your way into confidence, not the other way around.
Exactly. Action first, confidence follows.
What's another common mistake?
Comparing yourself to fluent speakers, especially on social media or in movies.
Ah, yes. You watch someone speak English so smoothly and you think, I will never sound like that.
But what you don't see is the years of practice behind that smoothness. You're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
That's not a fair comparison at all.
Not at all. Your only competition is yesterday's version of yourself. Are you a little braver today than yesterday? Then you're winning.
I love that. Okay, let's do something practical for our listeners. Let's give them some real conversations they can start with.
Great idea. Let's talk about 3 common situations and exactly what to say.
Situation 1, meeting someone new.
Perfect. Here's what you say. Hi, I'm Lyra. Nice to meet you. And then ask one question. Where are you from, or how long have you been here?
Simple, direct, and people love talking about themselves, so asking a question is always a great move.
Exactly. And if there's a silence, that's okay. Silences are normal. You don't have to fill every moment.
Situation 2, when you don't understand something.
Use your anchor phrases. I'm sorry, could you say that again? Or, I just want to make sure I understood. Did you say? And then repeat back what you heard.
That second one is brilliant because even if you got it wrong, you show the person you were trying to understand them.
And people appreciate the effort. They will almost always help you.
Situation 3, when you make a mistake and realize it.
Just correct yourself and keep going. Say, wait, I mean, or actually, what I meant to say was, and move on. Don't apologize for 3 minutes. Just correct and continue.
Because the conversation doesn't stop when you make a mistake.
Right. Only you stop. The conversation itself can keep going if you let it.
That's a great point. Okay, I want to talk about something a bit deeper. Lyra, why do you think so many people connect their English ability to their identity?
Oh, this is such an important question. When we speak a language imperfectly, we can feel like a different or lesser version of ourselves. In your native language, you are funny, smart, interesting, but in English, suddenly you feel like a child.
Yes, and that gap between who you are and how you sound is painful.
It is, but here's what I want every listener to remember. Your intelligence did not disappear. Your personality did not disappear. Your accent, your grammar mistakes, these are signs that you are doing something incredibly hard. You are operating in another language. That is not a weakness. That is strength.
Beautifully said, Lyra. I think people forget how hard this actually is.
Very hard and very brave. Every time you open your mouth in English, you are being brave.
Okay, let's give our listeners a practical challenge before we close.
Yes, here is your challenge for this week. Every day for 7 days, do these 3 things. 1. Talk to yourself in English for 2 minutes. Describe what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you see around you.
2. Say at least one English sentence to a real person, in a shop, at work, to a family member, anywhere. 3.
At the end of the day, write down one thing you said in English that you're proud of. Even if it was just thank you, be proud of it.
I love that last one, because we always remember our mistakes, but we forget our wins.
Exactly. Start collecting your wins. They matter more than you think.
Okay, let's wrap up with a quick summary of today's key ideas.
First, fear of speaking is emotional, not about your language level.
Second, mistakes are not failures. They are proof you are trying.
Third, break the silence trap by speaking, even just one sentence.
Fourth, use anchor phrases to feel safe in conversations.
Fifth, redefine success as communication, not perfection.
Sixth, action creates confidence. Confidence doesn't come first.
And seventh, you are braver than you think for doing this at all.
That's a great list. Thank you so much, Lyra. This was genuinely helpful.
Thank you, James. And thank you to everyone listening to Universal English Learners today.
If this episode helped you, please subscribe, share it with one friend, and leave us a comment below. Tell us, what is one situation where you feel afraid to speak English? We read every single comment.
You are not alone in this journey. We are right here with you every step of the way.
Until next time, keep speaking, keep trying, and remember,
your voice deserves to be heard in any language, especially English. See you next time.